There we go. Now it's working. Sorry about that, everybody. Trying to figure this out. Streaming myself for the first time. Welcome, everybody, to episode 11 of the Sunset Flip Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Henry Cruz, doing my first solo stream. We've had the Soto stream, we've had the B stream, now we have the Henry stream. So I'm going to dive right into it. We got a lot of wrestling news to go over. A lot of things happened this week. So we're going to get started. So we're going to lead off with WWE. We're going to start off with Punk, Rollins, and Reigns, main eventing night one of WrestleMania. So, obviously, for those who are huge CM Punk fans, obviously we know B is one. Um, CM Punk finally gets his dream of main eventing WrestleMania. So, obviously, if you didn't see Friday Night SmackDown, we saw the electric promo between all three. Obviously, Reigns and Rollins have a lot of history with the Shield. Obviously, them both turning on each other. We know Rollins turned on Reigns first. They rejoined later on, years later. And obviously, then Reigns basically went on his monster heel run and became a champion for multiple years. CM Punk just having a history with both Rollins and Reigns. Obviously, we know when the Shield came up, CM Punk had some involvement with them. So it's good to see that all three of them are going to get that chance to main event WrestleMania night one. Obviously, we already know who's headlining night two, which is going to be Cody and Cena. So, but shout out to both, all three of them, basically. And I just love the storytelling going on here with the bad blood between Rollins and Punk, the animosity between Rollins and Reigns, obviously for turning on each other, and then just the history with all three. We know that there was some real life beef, obviously. I'm sure all that was probably resolved, but it's going to be an interesting Mania season. And then the other question that we have going on is, what is CM Punk's favor going to be? So, obviously, it's only me here, so I'll give my prediction unless we have people tuning in. Um, I think his favor is going to have to do with the result of the match. So, what I think is going to happen is I think basically he's going to ask the referee to sort of call the match. We might get sort of like a screw job, maybe, would be one guess that I have. And another guess that I have would be that he gets a future title shot at a person of his choice, either Cody or Cena, whoever may walk out a champion, or Gunther or Jay, whoever may walk out champion there. That's what I think. Um, Punk is holding the cards to his vest, to his chest, basically, very, very tightly. Nobody really knows what this favor is going to be. I think it has to do with their Mania match. That's my honest opinion. But as to what it can be, it could almost be anything. It could be a future title shot. It could be Paul Heyman can't be the wise man for Roman Reigns anymore. There's just so many possibilities. But I really think that it's going to be something that has to do with the match itself. So Mania season is going to be absolute insane because we're going to have obviously the real life beef and tension with Punk, Rollins, and Reigns basically going into the match. We're going to have the mysterious what is CM Punk's favor. He may use it on Mania night, he may not. There's just so many different ways this can go. It's going to be interesting. Mania season in general just is heating up. I'll just be honest with you. So, but we're going to keep the momentum going here. So we're going to dive onto the world of NXT. So we got Gigi and Tatum tag team momentum. So if you've been watching NXT and you've been watching TNA, obviously we know they have a collaboration that they're working together. Gigi and Tatum have been in a lot of tag matches recently, both on NXT and TNA. We know recently they just beat Jakara and Lash. They also went on TNA to compete for the tag team championships over there, which they lost to Ash by Elegance. So it was interesting. I like what they're doing here. It's sort of like a slow build. We know Shotzi was involved with them, but it seems like Shotzi sort of went her own direction now, and it seems like Gigi and Tatum are the new thing. Seems like the fans are behind them and they have a lot of momentum. So I do hope that they keep it up and that they get them future championship opportunities, both on the main roster and on TNA. I think that would be nice. I feel like with the TNA crossover. I've said this before in previous episodes with both Soto and B here that I think we are going to get a NXT superstar or superstars as champions fighting between both brands, and I think and somebody's going to take one title and the other person's going to take the other title. So it's going to be like a cross brand promotion type thing where NXT wrestler wins a TNA title and a TNA wrestler will win a NXT title. What better way to cross promote your companies than having superstars from opposing brands hold the championship? And I know some fans would be like, "Oh, where they're holding the championship hostage." I don't think it's that kind of situation. I think it's more of they're going to do something mutually beneficial for each other and to help each other out. So I think Gigi and Tatum's tag team momentum is definitely going to be continuing. Um, I do see them in the title hunt. Obviously, we know Fatal Influences in there as well. And we can't always discount Shikara and Lash. And then we have TNA side of it. So it's going to be an interesting women's tag team division. And moving on to NXT news, Stephanie Vaquer's next challengers. So we saw that she defended both the North American Championship and the NXT Women's Championship in one night recently. So she successfully beat both her challengers. She beat Jada Parker, which we knew that was going to happen. And we saw that she also beat Fallon as well. So we know that she's going to run it back with Fallon again. Obviously, they're going to do a three-peat on that because usually they do best of two, best of three, depending. So they're going to run that back probably. So Fallon versus Stephanie Vaquer. I'm for it. Do I think Fallon might take the belt off her this time? Yeah, I think they're going to split it up eventually. Later on, we will discuss about the controversy with the double championship later on in a later segment. But right now, we are going to get Stephanie Vaquer versus Fallon for sure. And then for the NXT Women's Championship is where it gets really interesting. So if you watched at the end of NXT, you saw that Jordan Grace came out and basically confronted Stephanie Vaquer. So we know that's going to basically be the match at Stand and Deliver. That's going to be a banger. Let's get that out the way. That's going to be a great match. Do I think Stephanie loses here? No. I think later on we're going to get a triple threat between Stephanie, Jordan, and a returning Julia. So I think that's going to be the future feud. Do I think Stephanie loses at some point? I do. Just how soon it will be, I'm not too sure. I do think some of them are going to be fast tracked to the main roster because they are ready for the main roster. Stephanie being one of them, Julia's another, and even Jordan Grace. So I think those three eventually will be moving to the main roster. Now, do I think it'll be at the same time? No. There are rumors that Julia is going to be moving up to the main roster. So that's going to be interesting who she feuds with up there. But I am looking forward to Stephanie Vaquer and Jordan Grace going at it. I do think maybe they do give Jordan Grace a shot holding the championship. It's just a matter of when they pull the trigger. But NXT's future is looking very bright. They have a lot of great talent, a lot of great superstars there. And I'm just looking forward to what they have planned next. So jumping into the realm of SmackDown, we're going to talk about who's coming to SmackDown soon because obviously we have some names debuting. Obviously, we know Aleister Black is coming after WrestleMania. The teaser came up with a 425, so it's 425. That's a SmackDown after WrestleMania. But next week we have the debut of Rey Fenix. So Rey Fenix is coming. I like the presentation. The presentation reminds me basically of what they did for Penta. They're building Rey Fenix to be the next big lucha star, but on SmackDown. I love the vignettes that they're running. It just adds another layer to the characters and to the presentation of both of them. I mean, Penta's just a mega star right there. They could do the same thing with Phoenix, and I love that it's going to be a slow build to build up the Lucha Bros again in WWE because we already know that's the route they're going to go. They're fantastic single stars, but having them together too as in the tag team division will help bolster the tag team division because we know the WWE tag division's been all over the place for a while. but it has been consistent lately. So I'm looking forward to seeing who his debut match is going to be against. That's going to be a good one. Um, Obviously, I'm looking for the presentation, his music. Um, if they have him do the same moves he's done in AEW, there's just so many variables there that I'm looking forward to see how he debuts. Now, the question is there going to be an eventual feud with Penta? Are they going to have a champion? So is one of them going to hold the Intercontinental? Is one of them going to hold the US? And they face each other off in, let's say, a la Survivor Series? Or are they going to go the route where they reunite and one gets traded to another brand and they become the Lucha Bros and they go after the tag team titles for whatever brand they're on? I mean, there's so many possibilities, but I'm looking forward to Ray Phoenix debut. It's going to be a great one, and I'm just excited. Wrestling is in an exciting spot. We have so many wrestlers coming back. We know Ray Phoenix is coming. We know Aleister Black is coming back. Soto's boy. So just can't wait to see where they're going to go with this because there's just so many different directions. But speaking of different directions, Randy Orton going for his 15th championship soon. So Randy Orton was very adamant about wanting to be a 15-time champion. Um, Now, for wrestling fans like myself and everybody else, there was a lot of long-term storytelling if you caught onto the cues where Randy kept staring at Cody's championship belt, um, where it seemed like he was going to go heel. Then recently, teasing him bringing back the punt against his feud with KO, which I'm looking forward to at Mania. We know that match is going to be insane. There's going to be some great spots. There's going to be some nostalgia, some throwbacks. There's going to be so much going on, but I'm interested to see Randy get a 15th. Now, I want to know if his 15th is going to be against Cody Rhodes, because obviously he teased that a while ago, or his 15th is going to be against John Cena, who gets a 17th. Now, for those wrestling fans, new and old, Orton and John Cena had legendary feuds back in the day. We know a lot of fans are saying that it went pretty stale, obviously, because they did it so much. But obviously, Orton going after his 15th championship reign is a ready legendary Hall of Fame career. At this point, I don't per se say Orton needs the championship, but for him to get a 15 championship would add more to his legacy. Um, it would put him closer to Ric Flair. And if John Cena breaks the record, obviously John Cena. And what better way to have John Cena go out than to go against one of his most legendary rivals in Randy Orton and them going back and forth trading blow after blow and going after the championship? Wouldn't it be insane that Randy Orton retires with 15 or 16 championship reigns and Cena retires with 17? Two guys that feuded each other in the 2000s, 2010s. Oh man, that would just be epic on my part to see one of them basically get that and be one short of each other. What a way for both of them to go out. But Orton, I don't think Orton's done anytime soon. Um, when I was talking to both Soto and B recently, we were playing Call of Duty on stream. We thought about the possibility: what if Cena extends his final run a little bit? That would be interesting. Do I see it happening? I don't know per se. Shout out to Soto, by the way. I did the background because of Soto's in Puerto Rico on vacation, so he won't be in the next couple episodes with us. But he'll be back next month. But I'm just interested to see, like again, what the title picture is going to look like. Who's going to be involved? Because remember, we have Drew McIntyre lurking. We have Damian Priest lurking. There's just so many names lurking in the background. We don't know who's next or how soon Orton's going to get his 15th. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to his Mania match with KO. Now, moving into the world of AEW, Saraya is finished with AEW and is a WWE return on the horizon. So, for those of you who don't know, Saraya recently contract, formerly known as Paige in WWE, contract recently was up with AEW, and she hinted that in numerous things that she may take a little step back from wrestling. I'm not going to say retiring per se, because I think that's a strong statement. She fought really hard to come back and won a championship in AEW and everything like that. So definitely shout out to her. But I think that she has a lot of outside projects that she's working on. She just had a book. I think she's working on some other project as well, probably maybe TV related and different things like that. So I think she takes a little hiatus, maybe a little break. WWE was always home to her, so I think she does come back eventually. In what role, I don't know. It would be nice to see her wrestle in WWE and have one final run and maybe retire. I would like if they decide to bring her back, her final match, if she decides to go down that route and retire, her final match to be against AJ Lee. I think that would be sort of an iconic thing. For those who don't remember, obviously Paige, aka Saraya in AEW, won against AJ Lee a championship and became the Divas champion. So sort of like a kudos and nod to both of them. And I know fans have been wanting AJ Lee to come back for years. We know she's in tremendous shape and probably can't do it, but we know she had a lot of injuries as well. So for both of them, we want them to both do a match if they happens to be safe and everything to be okay. But Saraya is a free agent, and I think eventually she will return to WWE. It's just a matter of when, not if. She could always go back to AEW as well, but I think she served her purpose there. And I think if she came back to WWE, it would be final runs, sort of like a goodbye type situation for her. But I would definitely love to see her like go against AJ Lee one more time. I think that would be a monumental match. And in more AEW contract news, Mariah May and Britt Baker's contract situation. So I'll start with Britt Baker. So Britt Baker's contract situation is a little different. She signed for many years in AEW. Right now, she's not being used. There's a lot of backstage controversy and stuff that goes on with her, but apparently she's healthy. Apparently she signed with AEW for more years, and she'll be back soon. So that's another top name to put back in the main title card or mid title card situation. Hopefully they get her back soon. I know everybody says it's a headache, but I don't see that. Like I always say, there's always multiple sides to every story. We've only heard one or two sides of it. We haven't really heard Brit's side. So right now, I'm just gonna just remain neutral and just hope that she comes back and she dominates because she was on quite a hell of a run when she before she got injured and everything else happened. So, and she's a talented wrestler, and if she's ever let go by AEW, I guarantee she'd be signed to WWE ASAP. Now, Mariah May's contract situation is a little different. Her contract expires at the end of the summer, and for those who don't know, she's a huge WWE fan. Um, she's had pictures with her and Triple H. Obviously, not really Triple H, but sort of like one of those cardboard cutouts, and gone to events. And again, this is not saying that she's going to go to WWE, but would she excel in WWE? Absolutely. Would she be a star? Most definitely. Um, she's a star in AEW. She had a lackluster title run, not at fault of her own. She's a talented wrestler, talented on the mic and everything. Unfortunately, it's she fell into the AEW booking issue, which is building up their stars, putting established programs together, and everything else. Again, it's not a knock to her because we know she's talented, but I am looking forward to seeing where she lands if she stays with AEW or if she goes to WWE or if she goes a different direction. Maybe she goes to New Japan. Maybe she signs with TNA. There's so many directions she can go, but honestly, I think WWE would be a real option for her, and that would be another big get for WWE. Because if you think about it, she can run it back with Julia. She's had multiple matches with Julia before. She could go against Jordan Grace, Stephanie Vacour, Charlotte Flair. There's just Tiffany Stratton, Rhea. The matches she can have would be insane in WWE, and she would be an already established star. So it's going to be interesting. I have a feeling this is going to be the bidding war of the summer for her services. Um, I think is more likely she resigns with AEW just because they're familiar with her and everything like that there, and they probably will offer her the most money. But it would be interesting to see what happens. And the next news, another contract situation. Mina Shirakawa is all elite. So for those who haven't been following, Mina basically confirmed that she's going to be wrestling in AEW full time, which means that she's all elite. Obviously, Mina's another talented wrestler coming over from Stardom. She's great in the ring. She's also has a lot of charisma on the mic. I'm just honestly looking forward to what they do with her, and I'm hoping that they don't sort of bury her and put her down. Sort of a Camille situation, even though from rumors have it Camille is coming back and she's going to have a feud. But I just hope that they book her okay and booking gets more consistent. Again, another issue in AEW. As much as I love wrestling and I like AEW and I enjoy it, I just hope that the the not the contract, the booking situation gets better because I think that's important for them. Her to have good, consistent booking and her to be booked in consistent feuds. I do think that she could hold a mid card title too. So I hope that does happen. And moving on to TNA, Gail Kim is gone from TNA. Now, this was a shocker to a lot. Matt Hardy came out, said that he was very surprised. A lot of the women in the locker room were very surprised. A lot of executives were shocked by it. There was a lot of executives let go. Um, there's a lot of conflicting stories on it, saying that she gave ultimatums, which were debunked. Um, I'll say this: Gail Kim has been a consistent locker room presence in TNA for a long time. She has a great rapport with a lot of the knockout wrestlers, the women wrestlers, and wherever she winds up in the future is going to be a big asset. Um, I could see her going to WWE now that it's a new regime. I know she had previous issues with the old WWE regime, but now it's under different ownership, obviously. I could see her being a valuable asset there, whether it's working with the talent, whether it's being a producer, an agent, whatever she wants to be. She would also be a good get for AEW too, because they need that consistent voice in the locker room, somebody who's strong and can get things done. So I think wherever she winds up, she's going to be a huge get for them. Um, I'm leaning more AEW. They need that support. They need that more consistency. So I think she would be a great get for AEW, but I'm not going to discount WWE because they have that working relationship with TNA. And she's been appeared on TV before as well, and I'm sure she has nothing but good things to say now about how it's run. So, more TNA news. James Storm recently commented and thinks that WWE will eventually buy TNA. Now, I think this is a possibility because we know TKO as a whole is a entertainment hub and they look to buy companies. They bought WWE, they have UFC, they're starting boxing. So it's a lot to digest. I think them owning that. But do I think it would be a bad thing? No. I think it should be this whole separate entity if WWE buys it, maybe make it like another brand. Sort of like not like I would say the invasion angle back in the day with ECW and WCW type scenario, but I think more of like if they buy it, have it as another brand. Don't bury it like Tony Khan has done with ROH, unfortunately, because ROH was legendary and one of my favorite promotions back in the day to watch. That was in the independence and sort of like an afterthought now, unfortunately. A lot of talented wrestlers there. Hopefully that gets better, but right now I don't see that happening. It's just too much going on. I really think ROH should be a third brand of AEW. Just have it like sort of like you have Dynamite, you have Collision, and just have a ROH show. I think that would be great. But back to WWE owning TNA, I don't know if that is in the cards right now. It would be interesting. Obviously, James Storm has wrestled in NXT before, and I believe he was offered a contract, but he just didn't want to do it because he didn't want to do all the dates, and I don't blame him. It was a lot of dates. WWE, obviously, for those who are hardcore wrestling fans, know that they're reducing their live shows and a lot of different things now. So I think it's going to be good for the future of the wrestlers. Well, I think that's something that James Storm is 100% accurate on. Yeah, he could be something that done, but I don't see that being done anytime soon. So now, speaking of comments, I mentioned this earlier. Obviously, we know that Stephanie Backdoor is the double champion. Is it the first double champ? Obviously, Mandy Rose didn't take kindly to those comments, claiming that she was the first double champion, which was true. She was the NXT Women's and the NXT UK Championship, which they unified, which are obviously that championship doesn't exist anymore. Um, it was interesting. It ruffled a lot of feathers in the wrestling industry. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Um, Mandy Rose was a double champ. Was she the first double champ to hold a major and a mid card title? No. She held two major titles and sort of more her unification, but they got to give her kudos too. I feel like sometimes in wrestling we try to erase history and do things. Um, Mandy Rose was a double champ, and Stephanie Vacour is a double champ. One's holding a major title and a mid card title. The other one held a major title and another title that was retired. So technically became a double champ to a single champ. So to put that to bed, I think both of them are double champs. It's just the scope of what the double champs are. One held a title that was being retired, and another one held a title that's being defended right now. So there's that to end that. So in more news, Cain Velasquez was sentenced to 5 years in prison. I'm not going to get too much into what happened, but obviously there was a lot of controversy with that. Um, he got 5 years. I feel like they were very lenient on him with a lot. I know there was a lot of specifics in the case, which I really don't want to touch on too much in here. But he did fight in the WWE. He fought Lesnar. He's fought in the UFC before, obviously, and different things as well. But just wanted to touch on that a little bit. That he was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Want to touch on one more controversial topic before we wrap up with the last topic of the episode. It's the El Grande Americano controversy. Now, a lot of fans were upset about it, saying that it looked like there was a lot of AI generated images, which I believe there probably was, and that they mentioned the Gulf of America instead of the Gulf of Mexico controversy as well. Um, I get what they're trying to do with Chad Gable here, trying to make him seem like he went to the Indies, basically, not promoting which indie company he went to. He wrestled in Indies, wears a mask now, and has a sort of like an alter ego, like a lot of wrestlers have done in the past, where they put a mask on and had different identities. But Chad Gable's a talented wrestler. Do I think the El Grande Americano controversy is going to end and die soon? Probably not, unfortunately. I sort of think they botched it a little bit with some of the images and everything like that, and sort of discrediting a lot of different things. Not any fault of their own. I think sometimes when it comes to the wrestling angles with luchadors and American wrestlers going into their realm, it's a little bit of a gray area and a little bit of a hard spot. So I don't knock Chad Gable. He's just doing what he's doing best, wrestling and trying to just entertain and put on a show for the fans. Um, I think they're going to just keep it going, keep it pushing. I don't think this angle will go on for very long. I think eventually it's going to be revealed that it's Chad Gable and that he just learned some lucha wrestling, and that's I think how I think it's going to be. I think they're going to keep it short and sweet and move on. And for the last topic on the episode, WWE is inducting matches into the Hall of Fame. Excuse me. And first up is Austin versus Brett. Now, for those who don't remember Austin versus Brett, they've had so many legendary matches. We had their WrestleMania match, which was iconic, obviously, in many ways, shapes, or form. It was a bloodbath. That's the best way to put it. Um, it was a very technical match. For those who don't know, Austin used to be a very technical wrestler before his injuries and everything caught up to him. Um, excuse me. And after that, it just shows that WWE is expanding its Hall of Fame range. Now they're not only inducting wrestlers, they're going to be inducting matches. Now, I wonder how many matches we will get inducted, if it's going to be one a year, if it's going to be two a year, if this is a trend going forward, what matches will be inducted. But this is a great match to induct. Uh, Austin versus Brett. Enough said. Two great technical wrestlers, two wrestlers great at what they did in their time. Austin's legendary, Bret Hart's legendary. Just goes to show you that WWE is always adapting and changing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds for this. This is an interesting concept, inducting matches. Will we get Austin and Brett appearing at the Hall of Fame to induct this match together? I mean, there's so many variables and so many things we don't know. So I'm looking forward to it. And I'm excited that this is something that they're going to do because there's so many matches that are worthy and are not talked about in WWE history. And this is one of them that's, I wouldn't say it's overshadowed, but it was a great match. I remember watching it as a kid and seeing all the blood on the ground and everything like that. It was insane. And it was a great match. And this episode is typically longer, but it's only me doing it. So it's more of a solo cast. So I'm more talking to myself. I've been checking to see if there's any comments. I haven't seen anything, obviously, but that's okay. But that'll do it for this episode of the Sunset Flip Wrestling Podcast, episode 11. I'm your host, Henry Cruz. You can find us on all major podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're not on anything other major. um, you could find us on TikTok at Sunset Flip Wrestling Podcast, YouTube, X, formerly known as Twitter. We're on Twitch. We're pretty much everywhere. Threads. There's so much that we're on. Again, I want to thank you for tuning in. Hope everybody have a great rest of your day. And let's hope for another great week of wrestling. Later, everybody.